Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm sure that more people will join us, but we can start now. My name is Marta Fernández de Alarcón. I am the Secretary General of the Spanish Business Council, and I want to welcome you to this webinar about transforming businesses, the revolution of IE in the businesses processes, with one of our members of the Chamber, TechIA Institute. Thank you so much for your collaboration and support. For me, it is a pleasure to present this webinar today with an amazing expert from TechIA Institute, Mercedes Barrachina. She's a great professional with many years of experience in the sector of security and technology. She will explore and decode the fundamentals behind artificial intelligence, gain initial knowledge about what AI is, how it works, and what its main applications are. With her explanations, we will be able to understand about how are emerging different trends in IE and how this can influence the future of business, also preparing people to adapt to changes. So I don't want to waste time to our speaker. Thank you so much, Mercedes. You can start now. At the end of the webinar, we will explore a Q&A time. Thank you, Mercedes.
Okay, thank you so much, Marta, for the nice introduction. So, well, I will start sharing my screen with a presentation that I have prepared. So, well, first of all, welcome everyone, and welcome and thank you for joining us today for this exciting session on artificial intelligence, a field that is not only reshaping industries, but also redefining the way that we live, that we work, and that also we interact with technology. So over the session, we'll dive into key concepts about AI. We will try to identify the main applications behind it and discuss emerging trends with the purpose of preparing attendees to adapt to changes. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Mercedes Barrachina. I'm based in Madrid, in Spain. I study an engineer and an economy bachelor. I finalized a PhD in economy and also in biomedical engineering. So I have played a lot with data, with different applications based on machine learning, basically covering the artificial intelligence field. I'm working in IBM as a CP innovation lead, but I'm creating this TechIA Institute in order to democratize the knowledge about artificial intelligence. And I'm working also as associate professor at prestigious universities at national and international levels. So with this, I would like to just jump to the objectives of this session. So we will try to focus on three main objectives for this session. First of all, gain initial knowledge about what artificial intelligence is, then identify the main applications behind AI, and finally try to discuss about emerging trends, emerging applications in this field, preparing attendees, preparing you to adapt to changes. So what is the agenda that we will try to cover? We will try to focus on 8 different points, starting with the importance of data. At the end is the full for the artificial intelligence field. We will try to identify where we can find artificial intelligence today, almost everywhere. We will try to discuss about it. And then we will just go to the foundations concepts, to what is AI, and then the core concepts behind it. Once we have understood those concepts, we will try to jump to the applications across industries. Of course, this is just a summary. This is just a brief about the applications because we can have hours and hours of this kind of discussions about the applications and about the usage of the AI today and in the future. I have also prepared a live demo, a very small demo, 2 minutes only, covering a specific exercise that can be with no code experience that is very easy to use, just to show you the wide range of functionalities that can be applied, that can be taken value from without coding experience, and that you can put and you can gather value from minute zero, wherever is your sector, wherever is your industry. Then we will try to close the session discussing about those trends, the future of AI, and we will have this Q&A minutes at the end of the session as well. So let's start with the first point, discussing about the importance of data. So at the end, data is the foundation of the artificial intelligence, as I mentioned before. Without it, artificial intelligence simply cannot learn, cannot adapt, cannot make informed decisions. At the end, we are playing with data. We are trying to get information from that data, and from that information, make informed decisions. So just as humans learn from experience, AI systems learn from data. So patterns, examples, feedback that at the end help the different applications recognize trends, make predictions, or even improve over time. So it's very important to quantify and to have an overview about the quality, the quantity, and also the diversity of the data directly because it influences how accurate and fair those models can be. So whether it's images from computer visions, text from natural language processing, or even numbers for predicting analytics, data is what fuels artificial intelligence ability to solve those real problems that we will comment later. So in short, data isn't just important for artificial intelligence, it's essential. So here we have some figures about the data generated in 1 minute. So as you can see here, we have like the typical applications that all of us have in our phone. So more than 40,000 applications are downloaded in only 1 minute. More than 150 million emails are sent in only 60 seconds. And another important figure could be that around 500,000 photos are shared by WhatsApp in that minute. So with that, you can get a scenario about the huge amount of data that is generated by every one of us, even without moving. So in today's digital economy, data has surpassed oil as the most valuable resource. And that is what I wanted to highlight here. So not only because it fuels engines, but because it powers decisions, it powers innovation and also intelligence. So just as oil once transformed industries many years ago and also reshaped the global power dynamics, now data drives everything from personalized marketing and smart cities to healthcare breakthroughs and financial forecasting. So all the potential applications that we can imagine related with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, they are all based on data. So this image, I think, is very representative because it's suggesting that all the technological big companies like Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, they have built empires not just on products, but on the ability to collect, analyze, and leverage data at massive scale. If we are thinking about Uber, they are not owning cars. If we are thinking about Amazon, well, initially they were not owning products. They were just trusting about the data that we're collecting. So this is, I think, very representative of the meaning of this fourth valuable resource that we are considering, the data. Yeah, so I mentioned before that artificial intelligence is everywhere. Let's try to go deeper around it. So artificial intelligence is no longer a concept. So many years ago when the different applications were trying to be triggered, considering different data focus and so on, at the end it was a concept, but now it's not longer a concept. It's not really related with science fiction or with very focused on high-tech research labs. So it's become an integral part of our daily lives. In these images, I have tried to gather like different applications in which we are trying to get value from those AI applications. So from the moment that we wake up to the time that we go to bed, artificial intelligence influence our decisions, interaction, and even our thoughts. Whether we realize it or not, AI is everywhere. So many of us already live with artificial intelligence, but researchers say that interactions with the technology will become increasingly personalized. This is a topic we will discuss with a lot of examples later. So one of the most visible example of AI is in our smartphones. In our phones, we have voice assistants like Siri, the Google Assistant, and Alexa also use artificial intelligence to understand, but also to respond to our commands. So they help us to set alarms, check the weather, play music, or even to control smart home devices. So artificial intelligence powers the algorithm behind our social media feeds. This is another example you can see here in the images. And every time that we scroll through TikTok or through Instagram or even through YouTube, artificial intelligence is working in the background to show us what could be more likely to engage with us. So at the end, everything that we are managing within the phones, within the different applications, is having a small or a big company of component of artificial intelligence behind. If we are thinking about transportation, artificial intelligence is revolutioning as way the way that we move. Probably you have used almost daily or you are using daily applications like Google Maps, Waze, to provide or to get real traffic updates and even to get a suggestion of the fastest routes. So ride-sharing platforms such as Uber, Lyft use this kind of technology to match the drivers with the passengers, estimate arrival times, and even set the dynamic pricing. Probably you have experienced a specific situation with an Uber. If you want to request an Uber and you are having a very low battery in your phone, probably the price increases because this is one of the parameters that is considered in this dynamic pricing set behind the Uber power engine. So meanwhile, the development of these self-driving cars promises to completely transform how we think about travel in the near future. There are a lot of applications that are driving behind. So artificial intelligence is also transforming industries such as healthcare, finance, education. In medicine, that is an industry that is quite related to my PhD. As I mentioned, I completed a PhD in biomedical engineering. Basically, I developed an algorithm, a machine learning model, in order to detect the status of the different Parkinson patients to identify potential crises of those patients depending on some biosignals of the body. So typically our body creates biosignals like the temperature, like the electrodermal activity, that is a specific signal that depends on the electricity created by the skin. So this kind of information at the end is just data to fool those machine learning models that I mentioned before. So I was mentioning in medicine, AI helps doctors to diagnose the diseases more accurately, let's say, and also at early stages. It can analyze medical images, predict patient outcomes, and also suggest personalized treatment plans. So if you focus here, a keyword that I have mentioned a lot in these 15 minutes, it's around personalization. So it's typically to try to use those algorithms that it doesn't matter the sector, just to create more personalized offer, more personalized treatments. Because at the end, we are gathering a lot of information about our customers, about our patients, and that is where companies can take a lot of advantage about that information. So I was mentioning as well the usage in finance. So in finance, AI can help to detect fraudulent transactions. It can also power chatbots for customer services and even makes investment decisions. Probably if you are investing in specific things, in specific assets, probably you are already working with a robot, with your robot investor to identify the potential best offer and to get the highest return from it. So in classrooms, they're just changing to the education industry. So artificial intelligence driven tools also assist the teacher for grading, for track the student performance, or even for, again, offer a personalized learning experience. So even at home, artificial intelligence is becoming a quiet assistant. So a smart thermostat learn our temperature preferences, for example, or we can have also the streaming platforms like Netflix, Spotify, that also use artificial intelligence for the recommendation. So a quite extended use of the recommendation engine that basically understand the profile that you have in those platforms, the history of the movies watched or the series watched, and basically provides recommendations based on that. This is a general introduction about what is AI and how we use it, but technically, and I will try not to go so technically, what is AI? So AI at the end is the broad field dedicated to create systems that are capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as, for example, understanding language, recognizing images, or even making decisions. Within artificial intelligence, machine learning is a powerful subset. As you can see here, everything can be considered artificial intelligence, but if we just go deeper into the machine learning models, basically we can consider that machine learning models is a powerful subset that enables computer to learn from data, and that is a point that I will try to go deeper now, with the purpose of improving over time without being explicitly programmed. So some years ago, when you wanted a computer to do something, you just needed to program those steps with an algorithm, with a program at the end. And now computers can learn from data. So you don't really need to program the steps because now the learning paradigm has changed. So now basically you just need to give the appropriate data to the model, and the model will learn about the trends, about the relationships in the data, and so on. So if we just continue going deeper in those circles, we see that one of the most effective techniques around machine learning is the use of artificial neural networks. And that's why we have this third circle here, because at the end, those models are inspired by the human brain that process information through layers of interconnected nodes. So we are also thinking about how the brain works, how the neurons are connected or interconnected with each other, and basically the electrical impulses are transmitting data. So that is the way, or that is the approach for building those artificial networks. This could be another session, but basically there are many different neural networks that basically gathers a lot of potential functionality, from generating data, from generating text, to classify information. There are different applications that can be covered with the neural networks. So I don't really want to go into a lot of details here, but basically when these neural networks become more complex and include many layers, they form the basis of deep learning. Probably you have also learned about, or you have heard about deep learning, DL, which excels at handling large scale of data, especially unstructured data, data that cannot be compiled like in a table, for example, images, videos, text. And this is the core for fooling those deep learning models. So together, these technologies form a hierarchy, let's say, where deep learning is a specialized and advanced method within the broader landscape of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Again, everything is full with data. I have mentioned here big data, but, and yes, and all the definitions are detailed here. But basically, this is, or these are the main concepts around artificial intelligence, and these are the difference between each other. So if we are thinking about those learning paradigms that I mentioned before, this is how some years ago, without these machine learning models, the computers were learning. So someone has to program an algorithm, a program, just specifying the instructions. For example, if one specific score is behind 5, that means that the student is failing. But if the score is higher than 5, that means that the student is passing the exam. Very simple rule. Now, with machine learning, we are not really giving the instructions, the specific instructions to the computer. We are just giving all the data. As you can see here, I think it's a very representative information. We are just feeding the model with the data, and the computer identifies what is failing and what is passing just from the information that we have in the data. Yes, that is exactly the message. But if we are thinking about the history and evolution of AI, even though I think in the last 5 years AI is everywhere, artificial intelligence is not new. So artificial intelligence was born, we can consider, around the 50s, when Alan Turing proposed the Turing test. And this term, well, was coined and discussed in a specific conference around the 50s. Basically, over the following decades, the first rules-based expert systems were developed, but technological limitations slowed the progress. So that's what it was called the artificial intelligence winter. However, in the 90s, artificial intelligence resurfaced with statistical approaches and achieves milestone that probably you have heard about, Deep Blues. It was the computer created by IBM that basically was gathering or was created for winning the chess champion Kasparov. So again, Deep Blue is a very good example of the evolution of AI through the decades. So 25 years ago, the growth of technology, the growth of internet, the growth of data basically boosted the machine learning models, and then all those techniques could be developed. Basically, 5 years ago in the 20s, it appears around the generative AI, such as ChatGPT, transform the way that we interact with technology, sparking a lot of debates about the ethics and so on, but this is another topic. But again, artificial intelligence is nothing new. Basically, now we have a lot of computer power, a lot of resources to be able to extract all the value from those models and to fool them with the data that we are creating, even without moving. What are the core concepts around artificial intelligence? So machine learning can be broadly categorized into these three main types of categories that I have mentioned here: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So basically, they are differentiating how the models learn from the data. In supervised learning, models are trained on labeled data sets. Basically, what we are having is some variables that are important for our model, and then we have a label indicating if the specific record that we have maybe is a pass or is a fail. Maybe if we are classifying images, saying if the image is a dog or is a cat, it's a label that classifies the information that we have. This enables or this allows the model to learn patterns and also make accurate predictions. For example, if we are thinking about a daily use case for this, probably you can see in your spam folder a lot of emails. This is a classification problem, a binary classification problem, because it identifies if the email is spam or if it's not spam. This is a classification based on supervised learning. If we are also predicting house prices, this is a combination of variables that we are doing based on supervised learning data as well. So in contrast, we are having the unsupervised learning deals with unlabeled data. So now we don't really know what is a duck, what is a dog, if we are considering an image problem, or if we are considering this email case that I mentioned before. We are not really knowing what is a spam, what is not a spam. Basically now the model tries to identify hidden patterns or grouping. This is a very specific feature about unsupervised model, often using tasks like customer segmentation, customer profiling. This is another activity that is widely used in the industry, or even for the recommendation systems. So lastly, the last category that I wanted to mention today is about reinforcement learning. So these kind of models are based on trial and error approach, where an agent learns to make decisions by interacting with an environment. When interacting with this environment, the agent is receiving feedback in the form of rewards or penalties. So probably you have played in the past with Pac-Man. So Pac-Man is a very simple example of what the reinforcement learning is. So supervised learning is a type of machine learning where the model is trained using label data. You can see here an example in which we have different images, and then we have the label. We're indicating if this image is a duck. We are indicating if this image is not a duck. So then with those columns, with those variables, we are training our model, and we are trying to predict an unknown image if it is a duck or if it is not a duck. This is important because at the end, many applications are using this kind of approach. I already mentioned the spam or not spam classification, but there are many different models that learn on this classification pattern base. If we just discuss about the image that is here about the unsupervised learning, basically now we are not classifying it, we are not giving a label, we are not giving a name to every single image, but now the model needs to go deeper and identify the different features about the images. So how to differentiate what is a duck, what is a rabbit. So probably we need to go deeper here and identify the distance between the eye and the legs, maybe between the eye and the ears. So probably here we need to identify a lot of features. The algorithm should be complex somehow, and we can have higher rates of error here. So that's why a lot of data is needed in order to improve the performance of those models. This is like the basic learning approach, but probably you have heard about different types of machine learning. In here, I just wanted to highlight different models, probably for or related with supervised learning for creating diagnostics, for forecasting, for prediction, for process optimization. Typically in the industry, or if we are thinking about the supply chain process, there are a lot of processes that can be optimized. I will comment later about some of them. But considering those two categories, classification and regression, we can do a lot of things in order to improve how our companies work. We consider unsupervised learning. Basically, we are doing clustering, that is basically create like loops, considering those features that we have identified in the data. And clustering is just an example of the recommendation systems that I mentioned before, or even creating targeting campaigns for our customers, or even doing this customer profile. So typically, this is just clustering, creating clusters from the information we have from our customers. We also have another purpose of unsupervised learning, that is the dimensionality reduction. Basically, is we are having data coming from different sources, so we are having a lot of features that probably are not really interesting from our models. So with these algorithms, we are able to reduce the dimensions of our data sets to what it's called categories. And with those categories, we will be able to maybe visualize better the information that we have, or even maybe to understand better the information that we have, and from there we can continue doing some analysis. If we continue discussing about the reinforcement learning, we can also have examples around robot navigation, skill acquisition, learning tasks, or games based on artificial intelligence that are using this kind of approach. A specific section, I have detailed a specific section for generative AI, basically because now generative AI is around every single application, every single company, and I think it's really useful to just dedicate a couple of minutes here. So generative AI just refers to a class of artificial intelligence models that are designed to generate new content, rather than just analyze or classify the existing data as for the models that we have commented before. So these models can create text, they can create images, audio, video, and even code. And generative AI learns patterns, they also learn structures and the context. It's very important, this point of the context, because if you provide a wide context to the generative AI model, probably the answer that it will be providing around a specific question will be better. So unlike traditional artificial intelligence that should be maybe predicting if an email is spam or not, as we have identified, or maybe identify objects in a photo, generative AI goes a step further. So it can write an email for you. Probably you have experience with ChatGPT, you have seen it. It can also generate a new piece of art. If you have ever used DALL-E, this is something that is quite useful, and even we can have a session only for generating new entities from generative AIs. So tools like ChatGPT for text, DALL-E for images, and even Codex for code are prominent examples of generative AI in action. So they are powered by deep learning. This is the last concept that we have discussed around those circles, those bubbles that compose the artificial intelligence concept. And especially in those deep learning models, they are based on large language models, LLMs. Probably you have seen it somewhere if you have investigated about it. Those models basically predict and generate sequence of words, sequence of code, or sequence of data, and they are based on generative adversarial networks. These are a very specific type of neural networks. So with that, I think we can cover, or we have covered already, the main concepts about artificial intelligence and even about the step further that is covering the generative AI. So let's try to jump now into the applications across different industries. I have tried to focus on the ones that I consider that could be more interesting because they are getting a lot of value from the artificial intelligence, but we can assume that applications around artificial intelligence are applied everywhere, not only in those industries that I'm going to mention now, but in any industry. So let's start discussing about the healthcare. So artificial intelligence, we have mentioned that is rapidly transforming the healthcare industry by enhancing diagnostic accuracy or personalizing treatments, as I mentioned before. So one of the most impactful, let's say, applications is in medical imaging. So where AI algorithms can detect conditions like cancer, pneumonia, retinal diseases from X-rays and scans with really impressive speed and precision. So with this, you can imagine the huge amount of data that we need to train those models and also to make those models work with the appropriate precision. So these technologies support early diagnosis and reduce the burden of radiologists. Of course, we can have another discussion here about the purpose of those models and the purpose, let's say the objective to reskilling, upskilling the potential professionals that could be interacting with those kind of technologies. So artificial intelligence is also revolutioning drug discovery. So in the past, it was needed many years to discover a specific drug to treat a specific disease. Now this activity can be done in minutes, only considering the data that is available in public repositories. So with this, it's very important to predict the effectiveness, to reduce the development time, the development cost, but you can see here that the opportunities are really huge. Beyond diagnostics, artificial intelligence also enables to predict analytics to foresee the patient risk, such as, for example, the risk of readmission in an hospital or the risk of complications based on the history of the patient, based on the specific symptoms that the patient is having. And basically, there are a lot of tailoring treatments, adjustments that can be done based on all that information. There are other applications like virtual health assistants, maybe chatbots that are providing round-the-clock support for symptom check-ins, the typical medicine chatbot that can attend any potential disease that we can have. So if we are thinking about remote patients, also, those remote patients can be monitored using different technologies that are transferring information to a single data source and applying artificial intelligence there to connect with the specific doctor, to transmit about the specific potential crisis of the patient. So with this, you can see a lot of potential usage of these models in the healthcare industry. There is a specific company that is called Isomorphic Labs. It's a subsidiary from Alphabet, and basically they are focusing on discovering drugs using AI. So 1 month ago, in March, this company raised $600 million just in its first external funding round to advance its AI drug design engine with the purpose of expanding the partnership with pharmaceutical companies like Novartis and with Lilly, for example, just for playing or for being a big player around the drug discovery based on AI. There is another company here in UK that is Sera, is one of the largest health tech company in the United Kingdom. And basically this company uses AI to provide home healthcare services. Their technology predicts and prevents hospitalizations among older and vulnerable individuals. And with this, they are reducing the hospital admission by 70%, which is a huge number. And basically, they are not only reducing the hospital admission, they are providing a better assistance to the patients, but also they are reducing the cost of those hospitals. So you can see the impact not only at the let's say treatment level, patient level, but also at the company level. If we are thinking about the finance industry, artificial intelligence is already playing a pivotal role in transforming the financial industry by enhancing basically the decision-making process, also by reducing the risk, and also improving the customer experience. So one of the most widespread uses in finance is basically the fraud detection. So those systems that we have commented analyze transactions pattern in real time, and they try to identify suspicious activity and also to flag potential threats. So one example could be in credit scoring. Artificial intelligence goes beyond traditional metrics to assess the credit worthiness using alternative data sources, different data sources, and also enabling more inclusive lending. Here it's important to consider the potential bias of data because there are a lot of examples. If you think about companies, big companies that are already existing in the finance industry, they really were training the models with biased data, and basically it was creating exclusive results. But this is another session that we can have about the ethics and the potential usage of biased data. So algorithmic trading is another key area where the artificial intelligence power system execute trades at high speed. That is a key element when working in those markets, based on predictive models, helping firms to optimize their returns while managing market volatility, especially now, which is the model that is trained for the events that we are living today and some days ago. But this is another topic. In here I have mentioned, or I have prepared two examples. The first one is related with Bloomberg, that it's known for everyone. So Bloomberg is developing artificial intelligence tools aimed at streaming up to 80% of analysts' workload. So basically, they are trying to focus on the work that is repetitive, that it can be done by a machine. Everything, all those activities are aimed to be done with a machine learning model. So by applying generative AI to understand the data that they are gathering, to understand the unstructured data like images, text, like videos, basically the company seeks to significantly boost the researchers' productivity. So Bloomberg is having a wide research department, and they just want the researchers to focus on what is important. They don't really want to do a lot of repetitive tasks, and they just trust on those models to perform those repetitive tasks. With this, they are looking for increasing the productivity, particularly in analyzing financial documents and extracting valuable insights. So there is another company in United Kingdom, Oak North, that it's a bank that utilizes artificial intelligence for credit analysis and risk management. Basically, it's public that they have developed their own artificial intelligence platform called Acorn that leverages machine learning algorithms to analyze large volumes of financial data, and also they assess credit risk for commercial lending. So basically, all the decisions around the lendings that they are just executing is based on the information that it's concluded by those machine learning models. So with this, you can imagine that, again, it's needed a lot of data, it's needed a lot of bias or to avoid the usage of biased data in order to have potential errors in the decisions that those models are making. So if we just jump to the retail sector, to the retail industry, artificial intelligence, we can consider that in transforming as well this industry, how we shop or the usage that we have about the personalized shopping experience, also optimizing the operations and also driving smarter decision making. One of the most visible applications is the recommendation engines. So there, in every recommendation engine that you see, you have an artificial intelligence model working in the behind the scenes, just analyzing the purchase history of the customer, suggesting product tailored to its user. And basically, there are a lot of free tools right now that enables the creation of those recommendation engines without having a lot of code experience. So in here, we have a very big company in Spain that is Inditex. It's widely known and is having shops and commerces all around the world. Basically, they are using AI for many different purposes, but I wanted to highlight here the AI-driven trend forecasting for fast fashion. They call it fast fashion. So for example, if an oversized blazer become a trending topic on the social media, artificial intelligence alerts create a specific alert for the Zara design team. And basically, they are prompting the rapid design and production of similar items. So they are very, very well informed about what is a trend and what is not. And the design team is just paying attention to those trends and acting rapidly to respond to the demands of the customers. So these products are introduced to a store within weeks, keeping Zara, in this case, ahead of its competitor. So again, Zara also employs the artificial intelligence empowered inventory management system to track the stock levels in real time and also to optimize the restocking processes. So you can see here 3 areas in which this company is using the artificial intelligence for staying ahead of the competitors in the design of new products, but also to control the stocking processes and also to track the real-time products that they have in the shop. So this automation helps Zara to minimize the stock outs and ensure that popular items are available when and where needed. So if we are thinking about the marketing and advertisement, artificial intelligence is key. I already mentioned about the customer profiling. This is a typical activity that is done based on unsupervised learning models that we have already seen. And basically, you have an example here. What are the features that a customer could consider in order to create those profiles? So now we know that we don't have these categories assigned. So we need to take advantage of the information that we have, maybe about the age, maybe about the hobbies, maybe about the position or the job that this customer is having, maybe about the challenges that this customer faced in the past. Maybe also taking advantage of the location. So probably it's not the same a customer in Spain than a customer in United States, for example. So basically a lot of information about our customer that help us to create specific campaigns to offer them products that are more likely to engage her or him. So with this, I have mentioned about the main applications, let's say about 4 different industries. Again, there are applications for all of them, for all the potential industries. And in here, I just wanted to do a quick demo. This is only 2 minutes. Using teachable machines. Teachable machines, I don't know if you have heard about it, but it's a no-code web-based tool created by Google that lets anyone create simple machine learning models without writing any code. So you don't really need to have previous coding experience to be able to do that. It's especially useful for learning, for experimenting, but also for building quick prototypes. So you don't really need months of designing, of gathering data, of discussing with your data scientist about the hyperparameters of the model. You can just play with this example and see what are the advantages that you can have. So I have played this video to avoid having problems, but I will be detailing what we can see. So you can see that the link is here in the presentation. And just accessing here with your Google account, if you have a Gmail account, you already have a Google account, so you can easily log in here. You can have three different types of projects. So an image project, an audio project, or a post project. If you want to play, the easiest thing is just to start with an image project, basically trying to classify, it's a binary classification problem, trying to classify two types of images. In my case, yes, I have selected the image project. Yes, I have used it from a standard image model. And then for creating those two classes, I have selected different images that I have from dogs and cats. So only having information about 10 types of each class should be enough in order to train this model. So let me play this again so we can see it. Basically, you can also take advantage of the webcam and extract that information from the webcam, or you can upload the images as I have done. So you can just select the path in which you have your images. Yes, I was selecting 10 images from dogs, okay? And I was just renaming class 1 to dogs just to make it more understandable. And I was doing exactly the same for the cats. So I was selecting the folder in which I had the information about the cats, the images about the cats, and I was creating this second class about those cats and changing the name as well, of course. Then I was training the model. For modeling the training, again, if you are creating this with Python, with R, you just need to create a lot of lines of code. But in here, it's very easy. You just need to go to train, and there are specific standard models behind it, okay? With standard hyperparameters. Sorry, it has been played again. Yeah, here. Yes. In here, you can see in the advanced, if I try to pause, yeah, I will run it from here. So you can see different hyperparameters here, like the epochs, the batch size, the learning rate. These are hyperparameters that are customized when you know how to program those models. But basically here, you just consider standard values. And basically, you can see that in the right part of the screen, you can see the accuracy information that it's having, the model that has been trained. So the accuracy is quite good. It's almost 100%. So an accuracy that it's around above 70% can be considered quite decent. Let me play this again so we can see, yeah, we can see how the video finalizes. Yeah, you can also see the confusion matrix. This is another concept that could be interested to discuss. And now we are going to test. So basically, I'm going to select an image, and I'm going to see if, consider the trained model, the model is selecting the category or the appropriate category for that specific animal. So in this case, for the cat image, it's having an accuracy of 100%. For the dog, the accuracy was lower. If you want to implement this code anywhere, maybe in your web page, maybe in your application, you also have the code here, so you can play a lot and you can integrate your model, export your model to use it in your projects. So that's what I wanted to teach you today. Very highlight overview about what is possible with free solutions with no previous code knowledge. You can also interact with this machine learning world. So with this, let's just wrap up around the future of artificial intelligence. So I consider that the future of artificial intelligence is both exciting and complex, full of breakthroughs, big questions, and also endless possibilities. So the future of AI holds transformative potential across every aspect of our lives, as I mentioned before, from how we work and learn to how we create, how we communicate, and how we solve the global challenges that we are facing today. So as AI systems become more powerful, they will also evolve from performing narrow and task-specific roles to becoming more adaptive, multimodal, and capable of reasoning across diverse domains. So this means that AI will increasingly collaborate with humans. I consider that they will not replace them by acting as intelligent assistants, creating patterns, and also being the base for decision support systems. So industries like the healthcare, the education, the finance will be really revolutionized through the predictive analytics, the performance, the personalized experiences, and also the smarter education and automation. And at the same time, the future of AI brings critical questions around ethics. I just tried to mention it before. The fairness, and also the control and the push in society to develop strong frameworks for responsible and inclusive AI development. So, with the rise of generative models, real time learning, and emerging frontiers like quantum AI, we are not only beginning to explore the full horizon of what artificial intelligence can achieve. So, I consider that we are only in the beginning. So, there is a lot of work that can be done. And yeah, in here, I just wanted to highlight those main features. If you really want to continue learning about artificial intelligence, I can offer you bootcamps around artificial intelligence, in-house training, and also specialized courses. So you have here my email. You have also here my LinkedIn account. So thank you so much for this time that you have spent with us. And now I hand over again to Marta so we can continue with the final session. Thank you so much.
We can start with some questions you have. Okay, so the first one is, hello, do you have any idea how to use AI in an immigration consultancy? I really appreciate your opinion.
Okay, so in relation with immigration consultancy, there are many topics that can be covered, but I'm thinking about the long procedures related with immigration. So probably a chatbot that can answer to questions related with, I don't know, if you actually need to get a visa or what are the requirements to get a specific document. I think that can really be helpful as a starting point for the immigration consultancy.
The next one, that's a good question. AI platform for immigration and business consultancy. So it's the same question.
Yeah.
Another one, a very innovative, informative, and useful presentation. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have another two messages saying thank you. I'm not sure if we have more. Here, another two. Hi, do you have any idea how, sorry, because it's the same one. What about consulting, business and legal industry? What platforms can help us in that specific industry? Thanks.
Well, right now around legal, there are a lot of platforms, but I think they are paid platforms. So there is, at least from my knowledge, they are not free to use, but there is a lot of technology being developed around the legal industry, because basically, previous to the appearance of generative AI and everything was consulted in a book, in different papers, documents, and so on. But now everything can be digitalized and everything can be stored in a database. So this can be extracted easily and we can gather questions and answers around it. So yeah, there are a lot of them, but as far as I know, they need to pay a license for using it.
Thank you. The next one is, do you offer specialized industry courses even with partners, for example, real estate?
Okay, so for now we are just starting. So we are focusing on specific courses on specific topics more than in specific industries. But of course, if you need a specific content, just contact me and we will see how we can customize it, how we can get the value that you need from the course.
Let's see if we have another one. Thanks for all the info. Quick one. Is there any companies, apps you recommend for 3D mapping using LiDAR?
Leader. Not really, but I know there are specific repositories using that information, that data. So if you contact me, we can investigate more around it.
There's another one. Will there be anything here inside, like workshop or similar?
Yes, we are trying to organize a workshop for May, so that it's our idea, and we are in discussions with Marta and with the rest of the team. So hopefully, yes.
We will have it. Yes, we have this opportunity in May. So they are saying thank you. I think this webinar, when in some days we will upload in the YouTube channel with the presentation and everything there. So if anyone wants to contact you, they
Mhm.
can do it directly.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
I think we don't have any more questions. No, I think. Okay. So thank you so much, Mercedes, and thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much
much
for
for
the opportunity.
all the people who has been connected, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a nice
Thank you
day.
so much.
Bye.